Sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. If all the things you never show, there are the things I want you to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go.
Okay, hey guys, sorry, running a couple minutes late there. Welcome to the live. Literally, so I'm just gonna give you a preface. I've literally had 2 hours sleep this morning. Darren knows why, Belinda knows why. And then I just got home from work like 20 minutes ago. So I've just been racing around to come to the live. Okay. So thank you guys all for being here. Before we get started, of course, please hit that like and share. Again, don't do it for the channel. Please do it for always the victims of the murdered and the missing. And in this case, we're going to be talking about Jack and Lily. So please hit that like button, please, guys. Again, it's about sharing it, getting that information out there, and keeping this case out in the public eye regardless. Okay. So if you guys can do that, then thank you. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, again for being here. Charmaine's in the house. Kent's in the house. Charmaine, me and Charmaine are from Western Canada, and I'm in Vancouver. Charmaine's in the Shuswap area there, and Kent, he's from Pictou County. Aren't you there, Kent?
Yepper.
Yippers. Appreciate you guys being on here. You guys know how much this case means to us, to you guys out there. So please, again, for you guys know that obviously I speak to Belinda through Messenger all the time. Sometimes we do little voice messengers and stuff here and there. For Belinda, again, and all the family that are missing Jack and Lily and want to have answers, again, please do it for them. That's where it counts. As for the channel, like I said, thank you for bringing the awareness to the channel. But this case, of course, is close to our hearts, and any case that we follow. So thank you guys so much. And hi, everybody. I'm probably not going to do shout outs right now because probably in about 8 minutes time, we're going to give Darren a call. Okay. So again, I spoke to Darren this morning, but it is always better when it's coming, directly from somebody. And you guys know that Darren came out as, okay. So Durwood, we've had him called Darren. It's so funny because my husband sent me a message today and it said, Darwin said that we only got to work 3 hours tomorrow. And I'm like, and for some reason in my head, I kept thinking of Darren Durwood in my head. And I'm like, wait, right? So anyways, obviously, he has said that his name is Darren and he's been trying to find answers to what happened to Jack and Lily. So again, to any of the family members, whether it's Belinda, whether it's Daniel, Darren, Logan, and a little bit from Daphne. At the beginning there, she put out a post. Regardless, again, it's information from the family. That's truly what actually helps keep the cases out there, is actually when the family is speaking, regardless of what, sorry, RCMP, but regardless of what RCMP say, everything is usually silent and they hold everything close to the vest and they don't want this and they don't want that and stuff like that. But truly, there's tons of family members out there or family situations and cases where people could only wish to have this type of coverage when it comes to a case. This case, right from the start, splashed right across the continent, over the pond and into the United States, and especially here, of course, in Canada. But a lot of YouTubers that I know, were covering the case. But as time goes on, we all know that it starts slipping through the cracks, like a lot of cases and stuff like that. But then it doesn't matter what you say, the drama and everything always revives it regardless. And the whole point is that to bring awareness to Jack and Lily and to see what happened to them. Okay, guys. So anyways, Charmaine, I'll just quickly say hi. I need to breathe.
For you.
Wonderful. Not tired at all. Anyways, yeah. And so I know that you guys, I was at work today and people are sending me stuff, and I'm sitting there trying to look at it during my lunch times and try to make a thumbnail and stuff during my lunch and trying to look at messages and stuff like that. Kent, do me a favor if you could just quickly talk about that that one post about the Truro investigation or ongoing investigation or whatever, just meaning that it came out and a lot of people are thinking, oh, it has something to do with Jack and Lily and stuff like that. I was told it didn't, that it was something to do with drugs and stuff like that. But I think people were definitely, ooh.
Well, yeah, like you don't usually get, and it wasn't a press release. It was just a post on their Facebook page that at 4:30 this morning, they shut down a street in Truro Heights area on the Millbrook Reserve to execute a search warrant. And it said that the search warrant was connected to an ongoing investigation, that there was no danger to the public or anything like that. So if they're stating that there's no danger to the public, that means it wasn't a murderer or an armed suspect or something like that. Connect it to an ongoing investigation, because you don't always get those whenever they're just going to execute a search warrant. Like, we don't get notified on all of them. I know we don't. But there was nothing connecting it with Jack and Lily's case. But you take that it was on the Millbrook Reserve. It's not that far away. It was happening in the middle of the night. So you suspect that whoever they were going in with the search, or whatever they were going in with the search warrant for, they were hoping them to be asleep and be there and whatnot. So in my mind, it just automatically popped in. Oh, isn't that convenient? Connected to an ongoing investigation. Well, they didn't want to come out and say it was Jack and Lily's case, because it's just a search warrant. And it's not saying that they were looking for kids or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just coincidence. And like I say, we don't know what it was for, but it was just, in my mind, immediately I said, not necessarily going in to look for the kids, but they're looking for a person that they want to question if they're executing a search warrant. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, right? I mean, we know that this case is cray-cray. It is. It is absurd in a sense, in so many ways. 2 children, go missing May 2nd. So of course, we'll come back to Meadow and Daniel here in a second. But 2 children, Lily and Jack, go missing on May 2nd. Today is the 24th of June. Okay, so something that you thought was just going to be, hey, they're just kind of playing in the woods and be found, or kind of strolled off a little bit there, turned out to be, we're coming up, you guys, pretty soon to the 2-month for Lily and Jack. Again, that again, Belinda has been talking to the channel, and I can't speak highly enough of Belinda. I just can't. This woman is a warrior of strength. Honestly, I could never imagine, meaning I'm a deep empath, but I could never imagine being put in this position where 2 beautiful children right here, Lily and Jack, you're looking at their beautiful faces, And it's the most unimaginable scenario. I feel so bad for anyone that has to deal with this type of torture to their hearts. It's just torture is what it is. And of course, everyone would like answers to this, but Belinda knows she's going to be watching, I'm sure, right now. Belinda, again, thank you for everything that you have done. And always our focus, okay? Always our focus is, regardless, is Jack and Lily. That's what it's about. It's always about the victims first. Anything else is just speculation, that we talk about, other and theories and stuff like that. But the focus will always be about Jack and Lily. So again, I ask anyone that's watching right now, there's 370 people in chat. And let me just take a look. And there's 102 likes. So again, please don't do it for the channel's sake. Do it always for the children and for the families that want the coverage, that want your help. And all Belinda asks for from you guys is please just keep their faces out there, keep their names out there. That's what's important. Okay, guys? Okay, so this was shared, and I know it's already made it round. And I do have to say this. Holy, does a Meadow look like her daddy? Like, you guys kept the comments very respectful when I put this on the community post. All you guys, I can't believe, like, I'm a twin myself, okay? And these two look more like twins than I do to my own twin on there. But oh my God, isn't she just so cute? Because this is like the first time, like, besides seeing, Meadow in little pictures and stuff like that. But she just looks exactly like Daniel, like exactly. I don't even see Malaya in there. Sorry, Malaya, but I see Daniel. What do you guys? Is she so cute?
She's absolutely her father's daughter.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. As soon as
No
I see
denying that kid.
it,
No denying that kid.
Nope. There's no, I don't think anyone has to jump to any conclusions that he's not the biological father here. But anyway, so Daniel had talked about, recently, of course, in his interviews about being able, to see Meadow. We didn't know when, but obviously, I'm not sure if this picture is from today. I'm probably sure it is from today, at least, probably because, he was talking about it, and I'm sure. Just to be able to hold Meadow again, to be honest, is, I'm sure, just a ton load of happiness from his side, because he was denied to see all of his 3 children, right? So gonna make me all tear up on this stuff. Children have my heart 1,000 billion% on this. And again, obviously Jack and Lily, are the siblings of Meadow. And again, this is what the fight is for. Now, before I am going to be calling, one thing I did want to mention before I do that is, okay, you guys know how I put this up there the other day, right? Okay, it was the messages between Belinda and Malaya on there. So it dawned on me after the live. I'm like, well, where is the rest of the bottom of this one? I realized that you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th one over. So 4th and 5th one, I needed to swap those around. So they're out of order. I thought that I had them in order, and then I looked. Anyways, the 4th and the 5th one, I should have swapped around. And okay, so I'm just going to go through this very quickly. So although a lot of people are putting them up there, and that it says, do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them? Malaya says, I don't know, but he's been acting suspicious, and it's too worried about what people think about him, or he's too worried about what people think about him and not focus on my kids at all. Well, I think most of us took a little bit of a, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black on that one, because it's actually Daniel that we see out there, and we don't really hear anything at all from Malaya. Very little, nothing really. In fact, it's almost like someone that just went into like hiding and just stayed there and never came out, never used their Facebook, nothing to plead for the kids or anything. So with that one, I think most of us had a hard time swallowing that, considering that they are her kids. So everything he's doing is odd, and the police advised him to stay away from social media and stop contacting me. And he also tried to steal money from my Temu account with my card attached. So everything is not right. My main focus right now is to protect Meadow and find my kids. Well, again, Meadows, I guess, in the custody of CPS. And again, Daniel obviously got a visitation right there. I can't tell you about Malaya and what right she has, if she still has that same right. But apparently she had taken off and not ran off, but like took off, and she broke whatever was it? What do you want to call it, Charmaine? Contract or whatever, or agreement that one has. But anyway, so it's like, sorry.
It would be an order.
And thank you. I don't know much about like the CPS, but tomorrow we're gonna do it on Thursday. But tomorrow, a child protection lawyer, her name is Bev. She was on our channel the other night. She'll be joining us on Thursday, not Wednesday, but Thursday instead. And so that was great because the laws in Canada are very similar to that in the United Kingdom as well. But anyways, so Bev will be joining us on Thursday at 2:30 my time, and she's obviously 8 hours difference in the United Kingdom there. Very, very nice lady, well-rounded, very grounded personality. Anyways, you know what? Honestly, we can look at this later. It's 6:20.
I was going to say you better call.
Yeah, let's call. Well, we'll put the pictures up of the kids, obviously, for this one. And so, Darren, I'm going to be calling you right now. And again, you guys know that Darren has spoken on the channel about, I think, three times. I'm losing track here. Too tired, you guys. Call. Let's see here. Phone. Let's see.
Yeah, Michelle After Dark, you had her lost in the order of those messages. She was trying to figure out which way they were supposed to go.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Darren. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Good. So just to check in with you from this morning.
Oh, pardon?
Just to check in with you, first of all, from this morning. How you doing? I know you have had a rough day.
Oh, I've paid a big price for trying to help my family and helping Daniel and his family. And I'm not crying, but if you want to know, I'll tell you what's going on. I'm very lucky. I have some very, very good, loyal friends who I've known all my life. And right now, don't feel bad for me because I'm sitting in one of my school friends' chalet in a really nice spot by a lake. And he's a millionaire, and he takes care of me like a baby when I get in trouble.
Well, I'm so glad. Yeah. Because I just said I was thinking about you today, and I know you had a rough morning. I know we talked this morning. It was like 4 a.m. my time, but I know you were having a rough day. So I'm so glad to hear that your day got better that way.
No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I had messaged you a couple times, but I didn't hear back from you, and I wasn't sure if you got a different phone number or something. And I'm like, but anyways, so I just want to check with you on that first and foremost. Okay. So.
Okay, just hold on one sec. I see there's if I can take over for a minute. Excuse me, Charmaine. I know I'm bossy, and by the way, Charmaine, I apologize for upsetting you a couple of times through this because I got too aggressive.
You absolutely did not upset me. It was the entire situation.
You asked me why you probably couldn't message me in that, and I lost my Facebook account and everything because. To tell you the truth, I'm sure it was because I criticized the RCMP too much, and I'm pretty sure they got in touch with Facebook and kicked me off there, so I lost my Facebook, and that's all right, because I used Messenger a lot. And the other thing was that there was a comment there asked me why I deleted my Facebook account. Well, I never deleted my Facebook account. They deleted it for me. So, and I don't have my ability. I have a computer now because it's my buddy's laptop here, like I said.
Nice.
Because all this stuff I told you got so brutal with death threats and all that the lady I lived with and rented a room off of, she kicked me out because she couldn't stand the death threats anymore, and she was scared of that going on. And so anyway, and then when I went back to the house in Foxbrook, where my ex lives and my sons live, I have a camper and that behind the barn, that down the field where I was going to live. my oldest son has 2 kids exactly the same age as Jack and Lily, and there was a lot of people coming around there making threats to my son, saying my son's kidnapped Jack and Lily, and they were taking pictures. A lot of them were thinking they were going to get $150,000 because they were at my grandkids, and thinking they were Jack and Lily. Now, this, you talk about far-fetched and absurd. By the way, I didn't appreciate I might as well be truthful.
I know.
You know, I didn't appreciate your guys' comments the other night because this is getting so crazy and got so crazy.
Yeah.
But Daniel's going to be here too. I'm sure he's probably listening. And I told him I wanted him here because I want people to know our relationship, that I don't kiss Daniel's arse and he doesn't control my mind. So anyway, there now, I'll shut up and I'll tell you what and by the way, Belinda Gray knows me. She realizes who I am. We had met over at Patty's there over the years. And she finally knows the face, the ugly face to the name. And Belinda is great with me, and I'm great with Belinda, and I think she's a great woman. So there, now my speech is over. Now,
well, before you carry on, I want to add one thing to that, because I know, Darren, that. So I just want to say this first and foremost again. It's for me, you, Charmaine, other people in the chat room. We are so passionate, and we're feisty, and we're strong, and we care, and so. Absolutely, like I said, we said like our stories this morning and stuff like that because obviously I wasn't meaning to offend you, because I truly believe absolutely that you're doing everything you can to find Jack and Lily. And if it turns out to be that it's this whole that they got moved and whatever, I think you want. Everyone wants that just Jack and Lily are found alive. That would be the most precious gift ever, to know that. So I just wanted to say that. I know we're feisty, we're, each of us, but we're passionate. And you, I can tell, Darren, you wear your heart on your sleeve. You're not here to bullshit. You're just here to tell it like it is. And I get that. And I hope everybody else in chat gets that as well. I mean, he's telling you about personal information just a minute ago about what has happened to him. But I do want to say this. It is so wrong. It is so wrong on every level to literally message someone's Facebook account, throw threats at them, throw threats to the family. And unfortunately, Darren, there's those sickos out there that do that. And I'm so sorry that people actually have to put up with that type of bullshit, because that's just so wrong. But anyways, I thank you so much for talking right now. And I'll let you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, too. And listen, we have to have an agreement. If we do piss each other off, we got to just put on our big boy boots, get over it, apologize, and then go on to the next step. That's it for me. And by the way, Kent, thanks a million. Thanks a million just for being you.
No worries. I'm here.
He's a great guy, isn't he, too? Yeah.
He's a good fella. He's a sensible fella.
Yeah. Okay, so I got my big panties on. If it ever happens again, Charmaine has small panties. But anyways, go ahead.
Charmaine has small panties?
Well, it's smaller than mine. Mine are like a parachute.
Okay.
That's enough info.
What, Ken?
I said that's enough info.
I just like to be there with the pervert online too, so Charmaine, don't be swinging your panties around. I'll get all worked up. All right.
Okay, go ahead, Darren.
I just like to say really quickly that I wasn't, and everybody should remember, I doubt and still doubt Darren's sources. It wasn't that I thought Darren was being disingenuous to anybody. I have a hard time trusting anybody, but especially if we don't have
I don't blame
receipts. So I just wanted to point that out. No apology necessary. You didn't piss me off. The entire situation pissed me off. Just, you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Yep.
Listen, we got this thing here. People that do care and are involved in this little bit. This got so out of hand that it carried us all the way.
Yeah, I think so. It's because it's not a normal situation. It isn't. It's not.
Jesus.
But go ahead. Tell us all about this not normal situation. We're listening.
Right. Where do I start?
You know what? Go ahead.
I want to stick to the bones of this thing now, because I've said once I got into this on about a week and a half into this after the kids disappeared, because like I said, there was a period there when I never even realized it was Paddy's family's kids. I heard in Stellarton, that's where we go to Tim Hortons, a bunch of us idiots, and I heard there was kids missing, but out of Lansdowne, and that somebody had abducted 2 kids is what we heard for the first while on the side of the road. So initially, I never knew it was Paddy's kids and Malaya's kids. I heard that there was a guy named Daniel that was supposed to have killed his 2 kids, and that's all I heard. So it was just by fluke, and if Daniel's listening, he can tell you this is the truth. Oh, by the way, people, I never worked with Daniel. I never said I worked with Daniel. My youngest son worked with Daniel up at the mill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
that's how the relationship come around.
Okay, thank you.
And I hadn't seen Daniel in a couple of years, but then right out of the blue, I'm hearing about this guy that killed his kids. His name was Daniel in Lansdowne, and then I heard something. I don't know where I heard it, but what I knew at that time was that there was a black SUV supposedly suspiciously involved. Daniel, he'll tell you this, was with another fellow. I won't mention that guy's name, and a lady that was driving. And apparently, like, they were worried about Daniel's friends and that were staying away from him because of they didn't want to get involved or get touched with that stuff. So, and like I said, if Daniel's online, I hope Janie's here too. So one day I was working in behind my barn in Foster Avenue where I work on my junk. I'm retired, but I go back to the old property and I got a barn back there and my tools and a bunch of old junks back there. So I just go there to play now, really, fix up old junk. I was back there one day, and this was, like I say, about a week and a half or so after the kids had been gone. And this black SUV pulled out in front. I never thought anything of it. And so I walked out front just to see who it was. So it was a lady driving who doesn't need to be named, and it was another guy with Daniel, and it was Daniel. Daniel got out of the rig, and this other guy I know. This other guy used to work with my youngest son too, by coincidence, at another location. So when they were down the road, the other guy and the girl brought Daniel in town because he hadn't eaten in a few days, and he looked pretty gaunt. So they brought him in town to buy him a slice of pizza and get him straightened up. Oh, by the way, I'm going to slip one more thing in there. Yes, people, I talked to the Mounties. I talked to the major crime unit about 2.5 weeks into this. I talked to the Westville police. I made statements to them because I had to get stuff documented at certain times when you couldn't get a hold of the major crime unit. I documented statements with the Westville police, the Stellarton police, major crime, and regular Mounties through this. So let's blow that away that I wasn't talking to the cops, because I was talking to them all to document, because there was certain times in this where things were getting rough. And I wanted certain people to know that I was putting this information up, because that Jordan from the major crime unit, he was threatening me with withholding evidence and giving false information and telling me to stay off the internet and all this. And I was fighting with them because this thing should have been cleared up in at least 3 days. Shouldn't have taken 2 days if it wasn't on the weekend. This should have been cleared up in 3 days. So anyway,
yeah.
When Daniel and this other guy dropped into the yard, I went out front and seen Daniel get out of the car, and we shook hands, and it had been a couple of years at least since I saw him. My son Jordan, his buddy, come out of the house and said, "Oh, Jesus, Daniel." Now, Jordan, my son, they already knew more about it than I did. Jordan grabbed him, and all of a sudden I caught on. Jordan grabbed Daniel and gave him a hug and said, "Listen, Daniel, I know you couldn't have done this." He said, "They're saying you killed your kids, and I know you never did it. I know you did, and it's not in you." All of a sudden I'm standing there, and that was like a slap in the face. I thought, holy shit, this is the Daniel. So then that's when I started piecing things together.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, listen, this has been I got into this totally for my cousin Patty. She's not in good health. Her heart's bad. This was killing her. It is killing her. And she called me and told me, she said, "Now you realize that's Malaya's kids, right? My great grandkids. And she said, you know Daniel Martell, and you know the Mackenzie boys over there, the whole family. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, it looks to us like Daniel killed the kids. And then she claimed, now I'm going to be truthful, Daniel,
I'm
not holding back. Daniel might be pissed off at me saying this, but he might as well know it. I want everybody to know
He
it.
says he's a truthologist, so he can't. If he's a truthologist, then he can't get upset at you for being a truthologist. So go ahead.
Well, Patty told me she had suspicions that Daniel was abusing the kids, that him and Jack were having problems because they sort of had a personality clash, Patty figured, and that Jack kept rebelling against Daniel, and Daniel was trying to discipline Jack a little bit to whatever. But that's not my business, you see. I mentioned that to you before.
Yeah.
Between a man and a woman, if they're together and they're both staying together, nobody should interfere. And it's like I told Patty. Patty said, Patty was sort of hinting for me to take a trip over to their place. And I told her, Patty, I won't do that because they're together, they're a couple. I can't go into their kitchen and start ordering people around. I said, but on the other hand, if Malaya is scared to death or getting hurt, and if Malaya calls me and said, look, I want out of here with the kids and Daniel won't let me out. Now you got to realize I know Daniel too. I'm not taking one side or the other.
Yeah.
But I told her, I told her if Malaya did that herself and asked me to take her out of there, that I'd go over and take her and the kids out of there and take them to Patty's or wherever they wanted to go to figure they were safe. And that's not going against Daniel. That if there was problems between them, that would actually be doing Daniel a favor too. So I don't really believe Daniel was abused over. I think a slap on the arse or something like that was happening once in a while, but I think Jack was getting marked up mainly because he was a digger. He was into rocks and bugs and branches, and I mean, a little fella gets dinged up when they do that stuff, especially out in the woods here and stuff like that. So that's how I got involved in this, you guys. And I'm going to tell you something. And for all the first section of this, everybody was screaming at me that I was helping Daniel, that I was clearing Daniel, that I was all for Daniel. I was, for the first 3 weeks, I was thinking Daniel might have did this. And I was looking for proof, and I was looking to go at Daniel. And I was hard on Daniel, too, for the first 3 weeks of this. There was no playing games between Daniel and I. And the more I found out, and believe this or not, believe it, because it is the truth. You can, and as far as receipts, the only goddamn receipts you girls get, now listen to this, is when you get sworn affidavits and sworn statements. This is YouTube. It's not a court of law. So when you get your receipts, you'll get them in a court of law. That's where you'll get your receipts.
Right.
And you'll find that what I'm saying is just as good as receipts. Even I did some stunts, but what I'm testifying to in this finally is the way it was. And I'm not going to sit here and admit that I'm lying. I lied to people about something in front of the Mounties because I'll tell you some of the stuff the Mounties did to me later. But anyway, so I start looking into this hard, and I was after Daniel. For the first 3 weeks, I was thinking, I was really getting closer to him and assessing his personality, assessing what kind of guy he really was. You know, I never listened to what my sons and that said, that he was a great guy, just took that for granted and all this shit, which was true, though. It was actually true. Daniel's a pretty damn good fella. He's not a bad young fella at all. He's got his problems, same as all of us, but he's no killer. So as I dug into this at about the 3.5 week mark, I started finding, no, there's this guy's no killer. And then I and I was having a real hard time, I'll tell you why. Daniel's family, Logan, the Mackenzies, on that side of his family, they were giving me all the information I needed from their side. They were just unloading it on me.
Right.
It was my goddamn family that was so tight. I had such a hard time finding out the other side of it because Malaya would not open her mouth. Cindy was, Malaya and Cindy are terrible in this. They're terrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I had such a hard time when people were screaming at me that I was favoring Daniel, or that Daniel had control of me. That wasn't the way it was at all. I had control of Daniel. And after, since this is pretty well over between me and Daniel, we're friends. And that's the way it is. And I've apologized for Daniel for some of the hard times I give him, because I reamed the shit out of him a few times.
Mhm.
And so that's the way that went.
I mean, yeah.
So anyway, then after I was 90% sure that Daniel had nothing to do with the disappearance. Now, I'm not saying everything, but will you listen to this explicitly?
Yes.
Nothing to do with the disappearance of the kids. Okay? Now, Malaya wouldn't talk, wouldn't say anything to me. And she had already, let me see where she was. She was living at Cindy's under a Child Protective Services agreement, but that wasn't, the agreement was there was no CPS officer or caseworker there all the time. Cindy worked day shift and her husband worked night shift, so it was them that was supposed to be watching her 24 hours. So that's the way that was. So, long story short, Cindy ran for the reservation with Meadow. She was on the reservation with Meadow, and I was trying.
Did you mean Malaya? Did you mean
excuse me,
Malaya? You know.
Oh yes, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's
yeah,
okay.
Thank you, Sonny.
That's
yeah,
okay.
no, thank you. Malaya was on the reservation with in Shubenacadie with Meadow, and the only way I could even contact Malaya, she wouldn't even contact me. And well, anyway, I won't conjecture. I'm going to try to stick right to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I could contact Malaya was through her brother, Hayden, who lived with Patty. Now, first, Hayden and I never struck it off really great. I had met him before when he was a young fellow and stuff like that. I'd go over to Patty's. Patty's husband, Bruce, got a real nice Gibson guitar, and since Bruce died, she'd get me over there just to tune it once in a while. And I can't play it, but I'd tune it up and part with it for her, and we'd have a visit. So I met the young fella, Hayden, over there over the years, not so much lately, but so when I went over there and Hayden was there, and I knew he was Malaya's brother, and he's 18 now, so I mean, he's not a kid. He's only a kid, but not a kid. So anyway, I knew at this time, after I got into it, I knew that Daniel had nothing to do with the disappearance of the kids. Let's say 90% at that point, okay?
Okay.
So I wasn't looking at him. So, Jesus, this is tough. So the only way I could get information that I figured out of Malaya was to talk to Hayden and convince Hayden that I wanted to help Malaya. And that was the truth. That I didn't want to get a hold of Malaya to get her in more trouble. I didn't want to get a hold of Malaya for any other purpose than to help her. Maybe we get those kids back in a way that she wouldn't be prosecuted too much for lying about the woods and lying about the abduction theory, which is really the only laws she really broke. That caused a lot of trouble when she did that. So she was at fault for some stuff, but really shipping the kids out of there legally, if she'd have just, they were her kids and his kids, but if she would have just shipped the kids out of there in a proper way, or even if Janie hadn't have been there, she'd have got the kids out of there, and there's nothing illegal about that. So she wouldn't have been in the trouble she's in now.
Yeah.
So that's what I was.
One second. Again, thank you everyone for coming to this live. If you haven't hit that like and share, please do it for Jack and Lily's sake. Okay. Never for the channel. Always do it for the murdered and the missing. Okay. It's not my children that are missing and stuff like that. It's for the families that are going through this horrific experience. And I want to say most importantly, okay, you are welcome in here if you are kind, if you are respectful in your comments. Mods will take care of you if you are not kind and respectful in your comments. This is a place where it's adults. We don't play in the sandbox, okay? So act like adults, be respectful, and if you can't, then please, mods, remove it. We don't need your subscription and we don't need your view. If that's the way, go troll somebody else if you want to be ignorant. Right now, we're listening to Darren, and you guys should be more than grateful when information comes out from family members on that. So I just seen Kent say a comment here. So again, please be kind and caring, right? That's what this whole point is about, that you're supposed to be helpful in a sense and bring awareness, because it's about Jack and Lily. It's not about Darren per se. It's not about Daniel. It's not about Malaya per se. This is totally about Jack and Lily and where they are. If there's any repercussions to come, that will come. Sorry, Darren, but I just want to make sure, because there's a lot of people in chat.
Yep. No. Is that Karen you're talking about? Is that one that's on there? Is Karen Jones somewhere on the chat? Karen Jones. She's been cursing me every goddamn where. She's been calling me all the liars and everything else, and that I'm a moron. And
doesn't look like it.
So if
oh,
it's the same Karen
yes,
Jones.
Karen Jones. I see
good
her.
Luck to her. I think she needs a lobotomy or something. She's just a nasty, hateful
you know what?
person is what she is.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to boot her ass just for you. Okay? Because first of all,
thanks very much, but you can leave her on if you want. I don't care, but she's just a nasty, negative, small-minded person.
Don't need the subscription from her. And honestly, if you're telling me that she's all just being so negative and ignorant towards you, she could go. Simple as that.
Well, that's the truth. Anyway, and there's been lots on there, but she doesn't even know me. She doesn't know anything about what's been going on.
Yeah, well, then she doesn't have the right.
In her mind, she knows everything, and I'm an old good real bug. I'm just an ignorant old bastard. And anyway, that's all right. That's done with her.
Bottom line is again, and I'll repeat this, okay? This channel is very much a chill channel, but you have to be respectful to us, to the guests, and to the people in chat. You can have your say and you can have your opinion, and it does not have to agree, but you have to be respectful. That's all we ask for. This channel is not one of those ones that just boot happy and this happy. It's okay. It's about caring about other people, and you're adults, so act like it for the ones that are being disrespectful. Okay. Other than that, go ahead, Darren. I'm sorry, but it's just that there is more people,
right.
and
you're right.
Yeah. It's just that we have.
At this point,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No.
You and me we'd be like both two bears with broken beaks. We just pecking at each other.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Malaya's on the reservation with she does take off from Cindy's, and she takes off to the reservation with Meadow. At this time, I'm over and visiting Hayden, and I'm convincing Hayden. Finally, I took him for a drive, and I convinced him that, listen, I'm trying to do something. I told him what I was going to do. If Malaya would have contacted me, I told him what I was going to do privately. Is why I took him for a drive, because what I was going to do to try to help her was pretty illegal. But I was going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. So I won't say what it was, but that's good enough for now. So he trusted me, and that's how I got in contact with Malaya when she was on the reservation, was through Hayden. Hayden asked her if she'd meet with me. Initially, she said yes, and I was so happy. The reason I needed to meet with Malaya at that time, specifically at that time, I had gone through everything else, and I knew what happened in the yard. I knew what happened in the driveway for sure. And by the way, I fully remember when I was telling you guys that I had 1,000% proof of what happened, because what we were talking about at that time was that the only people that would know this would be Daniel and Malaya. Yeah. And if you'll remember what I was saying at that time, I got another source here that's very reliable, dependable, and truthful, and that I've got it. But at that time, Janie told Janie, listen, out of all the Mackenzie people, and there's some tough boys in there, I would rather tangle with all of them at the same time rather than Janie. Because if Janie turns on you, and if you betray her, she'll blow a hole through you so fast that it's unreal. She is one good, tough woman. Now, Janie, I had to go out to see Daniel a few times because there's no phone reception out there, and you know me and my flip phone.
Yes.
So I had to go out. So I went out a couple of times to talk to Daniel. The last time I went out to talk to Daniel, here's what I had to ask him because it was bugging me, and I just kept forgetting to ask him this little tidbit. And I asked him, listen, if you were out in the driveway with Malaya and the kids, and you knew that the kids never went in the woods, you knew that Malaya had shuffled them off, why were you telling all the press, why were you telling everybody that you were searching through the woods, right? And he said, I still love Malaya, and I was trying to cover for her lie. And I believed it.
You can
So
see
whether
it.
it was right or wrong, I did believe that. So that's all right. There's the point I'm at there. So anyway, Malaya had agreed to talk to me. The reason I needed Malaya, she was the only one there, she was the only one that I knew who was there for sure when the kids got shuffled off. So she was the only one who could tell me who was either driving that car or who was all in that car. That's what I needed to know. First, I told Hayden that's what I needed to know. And if she told me that, I'd go get the kids back, and we'd do a deal where I'd probably give some false testimony, and it probably would have turned into an abduction then, and then the abductors probably would have given me the kids back, and we could have got them back, and maybe helped her some. But anyway, that's half-arsed excuse on that one. So Malaya agreed to talk to me, and then, from what I understand, Hayden called me back, and he said, well, she changed her mind. He said, and I know what happened, but there's no testimony really to what happened directly, so I'm not going to say, but I'm sure her family was strongly advising her around her to stay in the protection of the reservation, and her lawyer advised her, well, he was advising her not to speak to anybody ever, and I was included in that. So that's that deal. That's what fell through there when I was trying to, and I think I was talking to you right before that, and that's when I was telling you I'm so close to getting those kids. That was the point I was at when I was telling you that, and I was excited because all she had to do was tell me one name of the people that were in that car, and I already was sure I knew. I'm still sure I know, but I can't prove it, so I won't say it. So that fell apart on me. So that was when was that? That was towards Thursday, I think, of last week.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I was disappointed. I thought, oh, I'm screwed. I'm at a dead end. But then I got thinking, I couldn't sleep. I'm laying there not sleeping and looking at the ceiling, and this is all going through my head. So I thought, oh, just wait now. One little thing flashed through my head. There was a girl right at when this just happened, landed. Now she landed, I think she landed with Cindy and her husband, or she landed right at the same time, and she was supposedly a friend of Malaya's. So maybe Malaya called some girls and they come in by themselves or whatever. I'm not sure who they came with, so I'm not going to say that because I don't know.
Okay.
But this one girl, she was a friend of Malaya's. Now, she's the one they call the psychic. She was stating right in front of the cops and in front of the other girls, and now I can say this is the truth because there's a lot of people heard this, and she was stating that the kids were getting tucked in nice warm beds in New Brunswick right at that point. And Janie, now see, I promised Janie up to this point that I would not say who Janie was.
Hi, Janie.
So even up to the other night, even up to not long ago.
Yeah.
And then Janie, I know I made myself look bad when I was telling you guys, no, there was somebody else. I got a good source there.
Yeah.
That backed up what Daniel was saying in the driveway.
Janie.
And right to the, Janie even grabbed me and took me for the tour. She showed me exactly where they come out of the house, exactly why the boot print was there, exactly where they went to the driveway, exactly where Malaya was parking, sitting on her butt in the grass by the wood pile for a little while, like right down to the T. And there's nobody. If you ever heard truth in your life, you heard it there. And she made the same statement. Here's another thing. She did the same thing with the major crime unit. And this is what pisses me off. One of the things that pisses me off. She walked them right through that whole thing. Now, Daniel was telling her this story. Janie was telling them this story. And yet they still went on with this. They anyway, let's not say what they did for now, because I don't know exactly. But anyway, you know, they never questioned this girl. They should have had, why didn't they have, like, body cams on? Why weren't they, in something like that? Do they have body cams here? This wasn't the major crime unit at this time, by the way. I'm sorry about that. This was regular Mounties that got called there, and a few more came after. Well, you know, wouldn't you think they'd have been recording this? They should, if not, they should be recording these incidents when they happen at the start, recording what everybody's saying and getting
absolutely. Because you said that, like you said that the RCMP's there, and you got 5 people talking about, and then you got someone saying that the children are going to bed in New Brunswick, and it's kind of like as if they.
And here's the kicker: Janie was standing right in the circle. And I'm allowed to say what Janie said now. Janie gave me permission the other day. She said, listen, Darren, she said, I'm sick of this. She said, they're all full of shit. They're all lying and frigging around. She said, you're the one that's helping Daniel. You got him out of shit so far, and you're the one that's helping him. So whatever you want to do, if you want to tell people what I told you, let her fly, was her exact words. And I said, thank you. So now I have her permission to say what she said, but I... And it's all documented it is documented with the major crime unit sworn statements.
Yeah.
So and that's the receipts. You know, I can't give you these receipts because the ones that have them are the cops. So you can believe what I'm saying or not, but I mean, like, I drilled through this for 2 months, there, and Daniel's probably, and I'm sure, I hope Daniel's listening, because I told Daniel to listen, and if I said anything wrong or I'm slipping, to break in.
I seen him say that. He said I seen him say 100% in chat. So Daniel Martell, welcome to the live. Obviously, again, this case with Jack and Lily, which regardless, and please don't take this wrong, to Malaya, Daniel, even you, Darren, or anybody else, even Belinda, this is about Jack and Lily. This is 1 billion% about Jack and Lily first.
And one of the big reasons I'm saying this now is because I want Belinda to know everything I know.
Absolutely.
She deserves to know what I know.
She deserves
and she can judge it. She can judge it, but she can deserve that. And Belinda, you know what I mean. You know, you know me a little bit. You know what I'm saying. So anyway. At this point now, okay, I understand. I'm thinking, okay, Malaya's been living with Cindy. I mean, they're mother and daughter, right? Yes. Surely the Jesus Malaya is telling Cindy something, right?
Right, Cindy.
So I called Cindy, and I said, okay, Cindy, listen. There's what do you know, Darren? And I said, well, I know a little. I said, I know a little, and I said. Let me see now. I remember accurately. I said, Cindy, listen, there's one little important piece of information I need to know off you. I said, do you recognize this name? I gave her the name. She said, yes. And I said, okay. Now, there was a girl that came around there right when you guys were having your arguments, and it was like a circle of people, and the cops were there making sure nothing was getting violent or anything. And this, I said, I want to know the girl's name who said that the kids were being tucked in bed in New Brunswick in nice warm beds. I want to know her name. And by the way, Janie looked at her when she said this and said, well, what the hell do you know about it? You know what the girl said? Oh, well, I'll be visiting them in a couple of days. And Janie said, get the Jesus out of here, just get going, and chased her out. Yeah. Well, at that point, Janie chased everybody out then. That's when Janie bailed everybody out of there.
So once, Darren, just because I know you said this, but if you could just confirm. So Joseph Morris, he's a big YouTube creator here in Canada. Mm-hmm. He says, so Darren's source that saw everything was Janie. And you said that, so that's correct, right? Because you said that was...
that's correct. Okay. Here's what Janie saw. Janie never saw this initially, but Janie is the absolute proof where she was confirming what Daniel was saying. Janie is
Okay, can you expand on that for everyone? Because that's what I wanted to.
Janie,
Go ahead.
Janie was supposed to be away somewhere, either with, I think she's got a boyfriend. I don't want to say she does if I'm not sure. But Janie wasn't supposed to be. She was supposed to be away on a little trip or away with her boyfriend or somewhere for the night. As far as Daniel and Malaya knew, Janie wasn't in the camper. So, and that's another reason I think that's why Malaya picked that time to get out of there. Daniel was sleeping. She got up early for the baby. They were up. And then Daniel went and laid back down again. I don't know whether Malaya laid back down again or not and went to sleep, but apparently Malaya was taking care of the baby. Daniel laid back down, went to sleep. Now, and there's little things in here that I can't swear to the truth because, like, I wasn't there, and this is only from Daniel. So, and Janie wasn't in their trailer, seeing if Daniel was asleep or not. So, and I don't consider this important because from what I know from there on, Janie was in her trailer, and she got her dog with her. Now, Lily, I don't know whether you saw the birthday party in that video, but when Lily gets excited, she starts that little screaming.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I think it's kind of cute myself, the little bugger. But anyway, so what Janie heard, she heard Lily doing a little screaming thing, and she heard Jack doing something, saying something or something, and then she heard shh, shh, shh. And then her dog started barking. She woke up. She got up, woke up. So anyway, now this is where Daniel and my rendition of this little, and see, I think it's just a memory thing. It's not my rendition of and Daniel's. Our opinions differ a little bit here, just exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to say my rendition of what I understand, what Janie told me. Janie, her dog started barking, and she knew the kids were out in the yard, and she knew Malaya was taking them. She knew Malaya took them out the back. She could hear them walking, took them out the back door, outside the fence onto the driveway, and where the boot pit came from, that driveway's harder than nails. But the night before, Janie, there was a pothole and a little ditch on the far side of the driveway, and Janie herself was out with the shovel the night before, filling that little ditch and pothole in, and it was raining the night before, and the gravel and it's muddy gravel. It's not really good clean stone and that, and it was wet, and that's why the little one boot print got sunk in the mud right at the edge where she was fixing the driveway a little bit. And then she showed me it, told me all about it, pointed it out, showed me it. And so she said that's when she came out, she said she knew, I mean, she heard the kids. She knew the kids were supposed to be there. And she came up to Malaya, and Malaya was standing there with Meadow on her arm, looking at the phone. And Janie looked at Malaya and said, well, where's the kids? Because she knew the kids were there. She just heard the kids. Where's the kids? And Malaya sort of looked stunned. And then just wait. And the next comment she meant was, let me see if I get this accurate. Okay, how long have they been? Well, where's the kids? Oh, she said they're in the woods. Malaya said to Janie, they're in the woods. Now, Janie swears to this. It's all documented.
Right.
They're in the woods. Well, how long were they gone? 20 minutes, she said. So there's where then Daniel came running out. Now there's a little mix up here in Daniel's memory and mine. I don't know whether he was sleepy or I got the idea, but I checked with Janie two times on this so I could get it right in my head. So anyway, long story short, and maybe a little error in there somewhere, was that was my main finishing proof that Daniel never killed the kids. They were there alive, around 8:30. But no, it was later than that. They were there about Janie's got this timeline all documented on her phone. She was that smart. Ron, her son, brother, had called her at 6:10, and she got that call on her phone. She called him back like about 6:20 or so. She was halfway awake, and when she come out of the trailer, she checked her phone, and she got the time of that. So as far as timeline goes, Janie has it right down to every minute.
Can we talk about that for a second, Darren? Because I want to say to people in chat, okay, people keep saying, well, the stories keep changing, etc. It's more like you're getting more information instead of it's kind of like as we've been going along, you guys, it's more like taking.
What's this?
Oh, I'm just kind of speaking to the audience for a second because I see a lot of people saying, oh, the story keeps changing. Okay, if you're talking about between Malay and Daniel, that's one thing, right? Because obviously it's that home that's where the children disappeared from. But I want to say to the audience that we started off with a little mountain of information, right? The whole point was we all just kind of wanted to understand what happened that day. So instead of some people are saying that the stories keep changing, but it really, to be honest with you, it's more that you're getting more information to make it make sense. Okay, so that's the difference. So that's what I'm saying. You know, if it wasn't,
I don't know what you mean by that, but
no, yeah, I'm talking to that's for the audience because the audience, some of the people are saying like, oh, the stories keep changing, but
that's what stirs. That's what stirs. These goddamn idiots that know nothing. Oh, I'm going to start getting pissed off. I'm going to
Okay.
These people that
Chill.
know nothing,
Yeah.
they start guessing, and
Yeah.
the next thing I do, or anybody does, is start responding to their guesses.
Yeah.
And then you get so far off track that you can't make sense out of anything.
True.
So why don't they just take for granted, listen to the story of the people who were there, then they can decide whether it's truthful or not.
Absolutely.
And then make their decision. But when they start picking and jabbing through the story, through the line, well, that just like it did. It stopped us in our flow of putting this information through.
Okay, now, yes, now, sorry. So now what I was asking you, and this is so true, guys, okay? You know what? And this is what we said. So when me and Charmaine, had released the information between hers and Daniel's conversation, it was one of those things. It was all about giving people more of an insight, right? The more insight you had into the day, the more of an informative decision you could make. Everyone just basically wanted to know. If it wasn't for the family at all, you guys would get sweet F all. Just let me say that. If it wasn't for Belinda or Daniel or Darren or Logan or people that are coming out of the woodwork, you don't really see it from the Brookside. Don't get me wrong there, people. Okay, I mean, it would be nice, but bottom line is that we would not have a lot of this information to tie it, and it would just be nothing but a bunch of drama. I mean, it is.
Exactly. We're not machines. We're people too.
Yeah. So be clear on that.
But we're trying to stick. At least I know. I'm trying to stick to the truth. And matter of fact, I think I'm sticking to. Well, who's sticking to the absolute truth? That's pinned right down is Janie McKenzie. She doesn't miss a thing. She's sharp as hell. So So that these people. All right, I'm going to stay away from them.
I was going to say. Let's go back to Janie because that's where we were at. So what I was going to ask you, if you don't mind, Darren, and this is where things get confused. It's kind of like Daniel's putting out little tidbits here and there, but when things are done from text versus tone, it construes a whole different ball of wax. Now, in saying that, right, exactly.
Now remember this though: when Daniel come charging out of the trailer, he just had fell back to sleep, and he said he's sleeping lightly. Well, Janie said his eyes were froggy. He looked like he was in just knocked right out of a deep sleep. So I took that for granted that I know Daniel was telling me the truth. And like him and Janie, they bicker with each other over little details. And they were bickering with each other over just exactly when this happened and that happened. I was sort of laughing at that. So matter of fact, I was refereeing that quite a few times.
Right.
So
Daniel, if you're watching,
there was the proof of life right there.
Respect your mother.
1,000%. With Janie McKenzie, and if you talk to her, you'd be 2,000%.
Yeah.
And it's sworn. It's in sworn statements to the Mounties. So that was my main base. And when I started off, people were asking me if I thought the kids were alive, and that's why I started saying. I said yes. And did I believe they're alive? And I said yes, and I'll still say it. Yes, I believe they're alive. I know they were alive that morning in Lansdowne, and unless Daniel killed them right in front of his mother and his woman and
Right.
Meadow, he never killed them, and I believe they're still alive because Malaya would not give the kids to somebody who would harm them. I don't think that she intended to get in there with them, but there was some. I believe there was something getting car seats and that wrestled in and stuff like that just delayed them. And when Janie came out of the trailer, the dog barked, and she heard Janie's dog bark, and Janie had a little wrestle with the dog to get it tied to the bed or something, and she had a little wrestle getting her boots on, and that's when Malaya said, "Oh, Jesus." And I think Malaya just said, "Oh, Janie's home," and told them to take off. Get out of there quick.
Well,
That's why.
Yeah, so give me 1 second because I would love to backtrack just a little bit. But I do want to say, Daniel, I don't care how old you are. You respect your mother. You came out of her chute. Yeah, you came out of that chute down there. You always respect your mother because you only got one mother.
Here's my exact last words to Daniel, and Janie will verify this too. I said, "Daniel, instead of arguing with your mother, you know what you should be doing right now?" I said, "You better bend over, get on your knees, and kiss her arse, because with her testimony, she just might have saved you from murder charges."
Well,
I told him, "I think you better just shut up, and listen a little more."
Yeah.
And the exact words I said, "You know, Daniel, she's your mother, and even when she's wrong, she deserves to be right sometimes," and that's it.
Exactly. So now can you do me a favor as best as you can? And if you can't, maybe Daniel or Janie would be willing to offer. So I just want to backtrack. So is it true that on Thursday that there was an argument that ensued, that kind of when they were shopping? Is that true?
I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay.
Because I said that when Charmaine and I were talking, I'm pretty sure. If I misstated that, but I'll clarify that.
Sure.
We were talking about 1 second, and this is where the United States things kicks into gear. When we were talking at one point, and I'm not even 100% sure it was at that same exact conversation, but we had a conversation, and I said, "Listen, if I'm going to state a section here that's facts." And I said, if you want to know if you want to know what I think after that, well, we'll talk about that. But I said, here's what I know. And it sort of spun into the other conversation because what I was alluding to, I think when Shireen asked me something about did I have a speculation of where the kids were? And what I said was, well, it's been 7 weeks. The Mounties been, well, at least the way I was thinking, it's been so goddamn long. The Mounties been goofing around on this that they could be anywhere from Tatham-Gush to goddamn Plattsburgh, New York. And that's when Charlene said, "Oh no, Darren, they couldn't get across the border." So see, that sort of jumped right from where I was saying what I thought was factual to the place where we started deliberating and farting around about the border. So I never said, and there was a bunch of stuff online on the other site there that I said the kids were in the United States, but that's what I said. I said they could be anywhere from at this time. They had enough time to go anywhere around the world. So
okay, so hypothetically, allegedly, so the way that we heard it allegedly.
Just 1 sec, Sonny. I just want to make sure Denise Harris can mods get her out of here, please.
Who's going on here?
Denise Harris, get her out.
Denise, where is she? Right here? Okay, you're gone, Denise. Bye-bye. Don't got time for that bullshit. Oh, no.
What's she saying?
Oh, no, I don't even know, honestly.
I don't know who that is anyway.
No, it's just, like I said, there's 890 people in here. With that's going to come some ignorant people. But mods, please. I don't know how many mods are in here, but Kent, you have a wrench. Let's see who's ever in here with mods. If not, just bring it to my attention. I'll boot their asses out of here. Ain't got time for that bullshit. Yeah, either you come in here to be respectful and listen, or go watch another channel, some other thing. Okay, guys? Because it's distracting. I don't want to be distracted. I like hearing what family members have to say.
That's part of what I said. Now we are already distracted.
I know.
But anyway, I'm just about done because what I cared for, my main thing when I got into this through my family was that if Daniel hurt those kids, he was going to be in some deep. I had to make sure of it, prove it. If Daniel hurt those kids, he'd been in deep shit. So my big thing was when Janie and Daniel's testimony and the signs out there and what she showed me and what they showed me about everything out there, and Janie being so 1,000% truthful and believable, and I'm going to tell you, Malaya, I don't think you'll find anywhere. Malaya said she thought Daniel might be hurting the kids, but nowhere will you find Malaya say that Daniel was capable or did kill the kids. And I'll guarantee you this, nowhere, if she's telling the truth about the abduction, nowhere will you see her call Janie a liar. Nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Well, I want to go back still to something because I would love to clear this up because we have talked about it. So you had said before, okay, so that Janie saw Malaya boat, because remember in the audio from the scanner, from the police scanner, they talk about the 8 o'clock. And so can you confirm that 8 o'clock, like what you said earlier, was about the time that Janie kind of seen Malaya, but didn't?
No, that would have been a mistake. It was later than 8 o'clock. I would say it was later than 8 o'clock.
Okay, so it's.
I would say it was. Now I even said to Janie, I remember confirming to her. So I said, so Janie, it was around 8:45. You figure? You're sure? And she said something like, no, it was 5 or 10 after 9.
Okay, only
that they were in the driveway.
Because
now,
yeah, go ahead.
Now see, here's what this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like getting off on these little tangents that mean nothing. What would it matter if it was 8 o'clock or 8:15 or 8:30 or 8:45 or 10 after 9? The only thing that would matter if they were stating stuff that came after the Mounties got there or somebody else got involved. But I don't like this because I don't like that. Nobody's 100% accurate. And what Janie would say about that, she have it on her phone. So what she would say about that would be the exact time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was going to say.
So I don't like these little getting off on these little tangents because I want it as clear. It's taken me long enough to get it out there.
I know.
And I want it as clear and cut as I can get it. So the more of these little questions that pop up, just out of somebody wondering, out of curiosity or whatever, or little thoughts of their own, I won't answer them anymore. So,
yeah.
So,
that one was on the scanner though, Darren. Like that one's on the police scanner. And that's why.
That's fine. I never heard the scanner, so
yeah.
I'm not dealing with that because I have nothing to do with that.
Okay. Well, can you let Charmaine or Kent ask you a question? And I want to say once again, okay, you know that we appreciate this. And for those people that don't appreciate it, well, it's too bad for you guys. Because to me, I love knowledge, and power is knowledge. And the more we have insight into that day, the more you can make sense of it. And it's not like it's a right. Okay, it's not our right to have this knowledge, but definitely does family talking bring awareness to the case and keep it up there? Like being in YouTube for like 5 years and whatever, you know what works and what keeps a case going. I know that it's not like, like it's not old school stuff for sure, because unfortunately you've been attacked by people, threats and stuff like that. And again, I
lost a place to live. I'm homeless right now, living in my truck. If it wasn't for my friend.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for your friend.
I don't know if I can fix that stuff or not, to tell you the truth.
Well,
and I'll tell you. All right, here's going to be my last statement for now. You can get Daniel in here however you want, but here's going to be my last statement for now. Malaya made a couple really stupid mistakes is what she's really guilty of, but it was the consequences of those mistakes that made it into such a big deal to start with. When she panicked and told Janie that the kids were in the woods, that triggered a search. She didn't know what that was going to trigger,
right?
But that triggered it. And then the second big mistake she made was saying abduction. That triggered a criminal investigation. And then it was, if she'd have just, the one thing about this, it is all on Malaya, because why wouldn't she open her goddamn mouth and stop this before it got started? Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have got started for a couple of days, but do you know why this, and now here's where I'm going to get dirty. I'll probably get kicked off here. Do you know why this goddamn thing is lasting 2 months right now? Mm-hmm. It's because a bunch of goddamn conceited, arrogant arseholes who are Mounties never did their jobs properly. I don't think they have the brains to do their jobs properly. And I'll tell you something. I know a lot more about that than I can even say, because if I say what I know about that, it's going to bugger up Janie and Daniel. So by me not by me not expressing, not giving any receipts on this vicious attitude of mine toward the Mounties, I got that to say that I'm unless Daniel or Janie wants to say, they know what I'm talking about. If they want to talk about that, that's fine and dandy. They can say what they want. And now I'm going to finish. I'm done. But I'll tell you one thing about the goddamn Mounties. Everybody on there. Here's the real dirty dig. Remember Porta Peak? And you tell me that the goddamn Mounties are the best law enforcement in the world? My arse. Good night.
No, wait. That's not fair. Charmaine, you and Ken didn't get to ask a question.
I didn't have any questions, but that is priceless East Coast right there. That is beautiful.
Yeah,
that ending.
Oh, well, okay. So you guys, again, thank you guys for being here tonight. Again, if you guys don't know who Darren is, so Malaya, her grandmother is Patty. Okay, so Darren is the cousin to Patty, which makes it to Malaya, first cousin twice removed. Now, in saying that, he knows obviously the Martell side of the family, as well as the Malaya, the Brooke side of the family there. Okay, so now in saying that, I just have to say this again. Anytime a family member gives, whether you want to believe it or not, that is absolutely your choice. But honestly, and I say this with no arrogance to it, but be grateful. Be thankful. If you're following this case because you want to know what happened to Jack and Lily, when family members talk, right? Listen. Simple as that. Listen. And use your brains that God gave you to take that information and then, come up with an informed decision. That's the bottom line of it. I myself, I love it. Whether it's boots on the ground or family talking, you need, you don't have to listen, but then what's the point? So what are you here for? If you don't want to, help in any sort of way besides, put somebody down as they're talking and think that you are owed information. We're not owed anything at all. So I'm very grateful for any time a family member speaking myself, and it gives you more insight into the day, right? So just remember that when you're some people that are attacking, like as if you have a right to know the exact timeline at every second and blah, 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 blah. And, all that stuff and what year they were born and how they were born and who their mothers and fathers are and who this, I mean, they do have those legacy things that you can go build out there. But other than that, thank you, Darren, for even talking. Simple as that. Bless on your situation, and I'm so sorry that people are putting threats to your family and your situation. But you know what? I said to Darren, why do you not just take it easy for a bit, stay quiet? And he said, Sonny, because I'm going to see this through. And I can't blame him. I'm the same type of personality, right? When you're in for the fight, you're in for the long haul. And sometimes, things will come at you, like obviously it's happening here and he's kind of like, nope, doesn't matter. I'm here to fight for Jack and Lily to find answers. So I can respect that and commend that. Go ahead, Kent and Charmaine. I've talked enough and all that. So go ahead and say what you guys need to on this one.
Obviously it's good that Darren called in again. I thought that relationship was severed, but I mean, that's good because the RCMP the other day said that, we give regular updates, but do they? We don't really get a whole lot from them. So this is all information that we can discuss instead of, like I keep saying, shooting blanks, right? And about the information that he provided, it's good to know that his source is Janie, somebody that was right there. And you know what? Beyond that, I'm gonna pass my mic over to Kent.
Kent. What's Kent got to say?
Is he mute? Did you mute him?
Oh,
or did he...
shit, Kent, you're probably... Kent, I unmuted you.
I'm telling you, I'm on mute.
I don't know who did that.
Yeah. I just want to say to everybody, like, some people asked me, they said, do I know Darren? And I know of him, but I basically met him in person the way that you guys all have last week on the live streams here. And then Saturday morning, he called me and like 7:45 Saturday morning, and he said, Ken, he said, my girlfriend that I live with knows you, knows that or says I can trust you. And he said, do you mind if we get together and talk? And I said, well, I got no wheels right now, so you'll have to come to me. And he came to my house Saturday morning, and we had a chat back and forth. Some things I agreed with him. Other things I said, well, I just don't see how that happened. And then other things, it fell right into place. If you really listen to him objectively and the information that he's given us, I haven't heard anybody else tell us any other information that would make it wrong. If we get a story or the proof after the fact from the RCMP and it's wrong, well, then we can say he bullshitted us.
Absolutely.
But right now,
I'm willing to gamble.
Look at all the information that even tonight, we got more information tonight than we had Thursday and Friday last week.
Thanks,
Is it 100% true? I can't tell you. Do I believe it's 100% true? No, I'm thinking probably 80. I know there's some things that he probably is getting mixed up and trying to give the details as he was tonight, because if you don't just allow him to talk and tell us, his mind just is like a squirrel hamster wheel, and it's turning in his head, and he's trying to remember the stuff.
And there's
like,
a lot.
It's not as if he's got this all written down, folks, and reading from a script. He's trying to tell you from memory. So, like I say, we chatted for a couple hours on Saturday morning here at my house, and since then, we probably had a half a dozen phone conversations. So, like, I just think that we all have to be kind, take the information that we're getting from whoever it is. Belinda, thank you very much.
Well,
I hope you don't get upset when Darren still says that he believes that the kids are alive and whatnot. But we're thirsty for information. That's all I can say.
Well, Ken, let me say, I want to say this quickly. What I do love about this is that this started off with Belinda speaking to me. I requested a friendship, and then she said she'd watched the channel, and then she accepted my friend request. And she told me, again, she said it was because she felt like I was the right person to talk to, and I still hope to this day she still feels that way. Me and her talk almost every single day, even if it's just for a few texts or whatever, because obviously I'm working, she's got she's busy and stuff like that too. And she's made this all the time about Jacqueline. But what I love about this part is that, so Charmaine is talking with Daniel, right? I'm talking with Belinda, and then I know Logan's thing came out, but then we come across you from Pictou County. Now you've become a good friend of ours, and then on top of that, Darren's talking to Belinda, along that, and then Janie's talking to Darren and saying, hey, like, yeah, it's no problem, you can give out this information and stuff like that. So I love the fact that something that started off with me talking with Belinda is kind of like, I'll say it loosely, of course, but it's like a little family that's all kind of working together to, just to try to bring answers.
Yeah, like, and you take your little conversation that we started out with Belinda, then we had a Daniel making comments on some other channels, so we were getting information from him. Then we had Logan come out.
Ooh.
And like, it just, each time now we're getting that because they want to find these kids, people, and find out what has happened to them. And there's more and more every day speaking out. Like tonight, we heard a lot of the stuff that Daniel says that he's got the confirmation from. was Janie.
It was Janie.
And
Thank you.
everybody was saying for the last 3 weeks, well,
Thank
how come Daniel's mother's not saying anything? And the other thing is, the only thing that I would have asked Daniel, but I don't really, or not Daniel, but Darren,
Darren.
but I don't really have to ask it because I know it in
One second,
myself
here.
that it probably did happen, is because everybody would say, oh, well, if Cindy's got this timeline of it, or I keep mixing up the names. If Janie has this timeline of everything, well, why didn't she give it to the RCMP when, or did they even take her phone? And I would say to that, don't be so naive. They would have taken her phone and they would have seen anything that was on it. It's the RCMP is still building their case so that they can have all the details. And that's the thing that I find a big difference about the Canadian police and RCMP compared to American is the American system allows for the or for the police or the FBI or whoever is doing the reporting to come out every day and give us another detail. Does everybody like that system in the States? I would say there's probably some people that don't, because all you hear about some of these cases that have happened in the past is corruption within the FBI and everyone else. So the RCMP and Canadian police, it's a lot more private and you don't get the details, because even when these kids are found, if they're alive or if they have joined God, we will not know the full story and the full details of everything until it goes to court, and you will be lucky if you know the details after it goes through the court system, because there's no reporters in the courtroom. Like, all we get is statements and recoveries from the reporters and maybe some still photos or drawings. So right now, our thirst for information is everybody's quest to find out what happened to Jack and Lily and bring them home.
Absolutely.
And that's what we got to remember. And the more the family, I think, and like you somebody said that Daniel had a rage hang up. No, I don't think it was rage. It was frustration, because he thinks, from the information that he was able to put together in 3 weeks, one man, he thinks the RCMP should be able to do it with a full force and a lot more expertise quicker. But
Yeah.
the thing is, if the family's not talking to the RCMP,
Sounds
they
like
have to take these digital pieces, because they would have seized the devices, but they got to take these digital pieces and piece them all together. And we don't know if it's a 300-piece puzzle or a 10,000-piece puzzle.
and exactly, but though, at the end of the day, I'm going to look at the glass as half full instead of half empty. So if these children are out there, I just want a miracle to happen, because that doesn't usually happen in these type of cases. Usually something is, the children have been harmed, or a child has been harmed, or a wife or whatever. So again, you know what, if this turns out to be exactly what Darren is saying about, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Let's just get real on this shit, okay? Honestly, Malaya's side of the corner isn't talking, and when they are talking, they're lying, okay? Because they said that Daniel failed his test. How would they know? How would they know? Seriously. They said that Daniel was gone for 3 hours. So they're not saying, hey, you know what, Malaya passed her test. They're not saying anything about that. So it's like, for them, for me personally, just going to keep it real, put up or shut up, honestly. Because from her corner, I just want to say, we don't know shit. really. Besides the little tidbits that Belinda has been blessed to share with us, right, between her and Malaya. Other than that, she has gone absolutely AWOL. And again, you can't tell me that if Cindy, the mother, has any idea that she wouldn't know about this. But the Brooks side, that's whole side of the family, sorry, but it's what, call a spade on this stuff. Okay, they're not saying nothing, right?
Yeah, well, Sonny, I wish, and I'll butt in here again right now, and I'll tell everybody because Darren told me this Saturday morning that is what he was planning on doing, and I think he was going there tonight, but this is when the Karen Jones popped up. Karens, some of them are great, but some
Okay.
of them are not.
Right, go ahead.
But
Some Karen.
Saturday morning, he came to me and he said, Kent, he said, the last chance that I had was, as he was telling us tonight, he said, the last chance that I had to confirm my info is Malaya. When she left Cindy's, after that person was eavesdropping on him and notified, he wasn't even home from Truro yet. By the time he got a phone call, and I don't know who he got the phone call from, but he got a phone call saying that Malaya had left Cindy's and took off. Some people say on the run, but she just took off to the reserve because I think she had more family there that she gets along with, and that's where her lawyer's at. So he was saying that, as he told us, trying to get Malaya to meet with him and was going to have that, but then she got talked out of it or whatever, and that failed. He told me, he said, Kent, I got one more way of confirming, which he told us tonight, that was to get a hold of Cindy and to see if Cindy could confirm anything for him. Now, we know because he went into it a little bit, but then he got off tangent and started talking about something else. When he called Cindy Saturday afternoon, because he called me and told me what happened on Sunday morning, he said, Kent, when I called her Saturday afternoon, because we were as a family going to get back together anyway, but he said, I told her that I wanted to meet her before we went to Patty's because I wanted to talk to her about something. And Cindy said to Darren, well, what do you want to talk about? He said, well, I want to talk about Malay. He said, I have a couple questions which I think you can answer. And Cindy said, nope, I'm not talking about it no more. I'm not talking to anybody. And Malaya is here. And that's how we found out that Malaya was back at Cindy's. So I just wanted to say that because he was going down that road there tonight, but then he got sidetracked. And once Cindy, and he told Cindy that, or he told me that he told Cindy, he said, well, Cindy, if you won't talk to me, you're leaving me no choice but to go and make the reports to the RCMP because they're threatening charges on me, saying I'm withholding information, but I'm just trying to find out for real rather than just giving speculation.
Yeah.
He said the names I have are speculation, but the details of the story, he said, I'm pretty sure they're true. And she said, no, I'm not talking about it, and I'm not talking to anybody. So what is family supposed to do? One side of the family is talking, Daniel, Logan, Darren, now Janie. A couple other cousins have been reported in different stats. But Malaya's side of the family, like, I have to question her lawyer. Like, why isn't her lawyer, not that he's not out there or she's not, because I don't know if it's a male or female, but why didn't or wouldn't her lawyer release a statement asking for the kids to be safely returned or found? If nothing else, don't talk about the case at all, but just make that general statement of release. Because other than Malaya's one interview before she left the property, we have nothing from her. So I just wanted to say that because I think he was heading there tonight when he got sidetracked the first time. So
Yeah, and that's exactly what he said to me as well. I mean, you know that I flip flop, but again, like a lot of other people, I personally flip flop because we started off and looking for the sincerity of it. Um, and I had a hard time because Malaya's interview sucked ass. Just calling a spade, sucked ass. Totally, absolutely, a lot of bullshit in that whole interview, whatever you want to call it. It was weird, right? Then you're looking at Daniel, and then you're seeing, to me, what I thought was somebody being truthful, but yet I couldn't, if I didn't believe Malaya, and this is when at the start of it, when you're thinking that they both had something perhaps to do with it, because we don't know. Remember, there's no charges against anybody at this point. It's just all speculation. But to me, because that they had stuck the story together about waking up in bed and in and out, and Lily came in the room a couple times, and like kumbaya stuff like that. So if I deemed Malaya as lying, that meant that I had to deem Daniel as lying. But yet I did feel like Daniel was being truthful. Me and Charmaine both did, right? And then more information comes out. Now I'm flip flopping like a fish, and I don't usually do that. But this case is doing my head in with about what really happened, right? But genuinely, all this, like, meaning as time it keeps going on, and you can see that the Martells are coming out of the woodwork more. You don't see the other side coming out of the woodwork at all, But there's something to be said about that. I'm so sorry. And Daniel, again, if you are watching this, Malaya might be the mother of Jack, Lily, and Meadow, but Jack and Lily is what this is about. And unfortunately, I don't care, I'm an expert in love pretty much. I've been married 3 times, but I've always been a big person about love. I get it if somebody loves somebody and we do stupid shit sometimes in cover for them or whatever the case may be.
Honey,
Yeah?
Belinda spoke up in chat.
Did she?
Yeah, and I think that, if I'm not mistaken, Valerie might be with Janie. So I don't know if Belinda wanted you to ask the question about why Janie didn't speak to reporters, but...
Oh, go ahead. Where is it? Tell me where it is. Because can you tell me what time that was? Belinda, there she is. Belinda, I would like to know why Janie didn't speak to the reporters that second day and put her story out. They would have listened. If I'm not mistaken, Belinda, and maybe this can come back through, Darren or something like that, or maybe Janie. But I know that Darren said that Janie was only talking to the RCMP. She wasn't doing social media whatsoever. That she almost even wasn't talking to Daniel with certain information, according to Darren. Okay, but that's what that's the only piece that I know is that simply Janie doesn't do social media, just talking to the RCMP, and that's it. So the RCMP would have had that information, but not something that she's speaking about because it's just not her thing to do the social media, but if she is speaking up now and it is coming through, say, Darren, for us to have the knowledge on that. And Belinda, it's nice to see you actually in the chat. That's probably the first time, eh? Yeah, to see her actually. We see Chelsea sometimes, but Belinda always stays in the background, quiet on there. But I believe that that's it. And what did you say about Valerie? Hey, Valerie, or was she just
something earlier, and I can't remember what it was, but Valerie's comment made it sound to me like she might be with Janie right now. So I just thought maybe
who might be Valerie? Might be Valerie. Hey, Valerie, fess up. Are you a relative to the Mackenzies?
Not a relative. She's just a good friend that she's known for over 50 years, I believe. So
a lot of people.
I just thought maybe the way
a lot of people think that
earlier was worded, it just sounded to me like she might be watching this with Janie.
All
Or
the way.
possibly be able to ask her a question, you
Who?
know,
Who?
Jeannie, Valerie
Yeah.
asked Jeannie a question. People were also talking about the timeline, and which myself, I mean, there's many questions, but I don't know how that's going to help us. I mean, it's just going to give us more fodder to talk about, right? So, I mean,
It
with the
just puts it
timeline,
into perspective, though, right? Obviously, like
what?
if it just puts it into perspective instead of it being multiple different times, it just puts it into more alignment of okay, right? Instead of this mishmash of story, you know that full well that instead of this. I think it was this time, but no, they said this time. Wait, what? Daniel says not 10 o'clock. The Malaya says 9:40 to this. It is about the timeline, simple as that.
I
Meaning
see.
it's not our right still, bottom line, to have this information. But we all know that in true crime, when you can't put A to Z together and you're all over the map, that's what really creates the mess and the diarrhea and stuff like that. Because everyone's looking for facts. They want facts. They don't want, this. They just want us. If you're going to tell a story in a sense, you know how it is. If you want to tell a story, then just tell the story. Go to A to Z, tell the story instead of little particles here, little particles there. That's what, so if somebody's going to come out and speak, that's what happens. Is that if they're speaking in particles here and there, then it creates the drama. Simple as that. It's not going to change.
Exactly, Belinda. I think that if this is the scenario, it was a big waste of time and money and search efforts and the RCMP efforts
Yeah, of
and
course.
everything else when
And still,
probably
I mean,
about
the
a
kids
half,
still are not home.
yeah, probably about a half an hour
Yeah.
of Malaya talking could have had this solved. So I agree with you totally 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if this comes like well, I mean what I was saying to Daniel was bottom line is Jack and Lily, at the end of the day, right? I mean, at some point, when somebody throws you underneath the bus or whatever they're doing and leave you to hold everything in your hands, meanwhile they're not talking or coming forward and stuff, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's your life regardless, dude. But at the end of the day, this is about Jack and Lily and just the desire just to feel, understand what happened to them. And this would be the biggest gift of all. I would love for Belinda, and I speak for Belinda on this one when I say I would just love for Belinda to be able to see her grandbabies again. She has an amazing, beautiful backyard, by the way. And I would just love to see Belinda, and any other family members. Of course, I'm missing Jack and Lily, but I'm talking straight to Belinda on this one. Um, I have 2 search ribbons in my room to honor all the searchers. Thank you so much, Belinda. And absolutely, right? You guys? Absolutely. If this turns out to be one big escapade, well, I mean, obviously, if it's coming from Malaya's side, she's going to reap her just desserts. When you play with fire and you get burnt, don't freaking cry about it. You take accountability for what you done. But if this is one of those things that it does come back to bite her in the ass, again, you caused it. You did it. You don't have nobody to blame but yourself if that's the case. But we don't know the honest answers. We can just take the information given to us. At the end of the day, we're not going to be arresting somebody. It's the RCMP that will do any arresting, if any arresting is going to happen in this case. And we're not their judge and jury because obviously we can have our speculation. But again, that will be up to any courts to decide. Yeah. But thank you for, speaking up in there. Or, nice to see you, Belinda, on there as well. Okay. Do you guys want to say anything else? Oh, I know about the sweaters. I think Daniel's saying about the sweaters the other day proves they killed. I pray I'm wrong. Right. Stuff like that, right? Meaning if you're going to put something out there like that and it gets twisted around, because as far as we're concerned, the whole 2 sweater thing was odd. That would be something that perhaps you should clear up on that one. You don't have to, but in the eyes of perception might help a little bit. Clear that up. Yeah. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
I
I
don't
was
really
just
have
saying,
more to add today other than,
Yeah.
you know, if everything or even a percentage of what's come out is true, it still boggles my mind that the kids haven't been found. If the people, they're cooperating with the police, which we've all heard that the whole family is cooperating, and now Darren has given his statement to police. They have all of this information. They have the cell phones. They have the data drop from those cell phones. How are they still not home? And that's where my roadblock is, and it's going to remain there. When we talk about receipts, I know that nobody owes us shit. Like, clearly, I know that. But my concern with Darren's information was before we knew who his source was, it was like, okay, well, maybe your source is lying to you. Asking him if he got receipts, and he didn't, other than this person is very trustworthy. I know a lot of trustworthy people who would lie to keep themselves out of trouble. It is all I'm saying. So I wasn't saying show us receipts, except for the last one when I got really bad and I said the source can get up here with their receipts. That was Charmaine out of her mind a little bit, but I was, and I've said all along, I was concerned that people were feeding Darren a load of malarkey. And then when you go on to YouTube and give your full name and spell it out, that's just, there are some crazy people out there, and they will go to, they have no shame.
Nope.
No shame.
Nope. Because why? Because they sit their asses behind a keyboard, and they think that they can just spew whatever they want all day long. And, I hope one day that people like that literally do stuff like that. Like, it's because, it's kind of like when we had someone come into the channel and threaten to cut mine and Deb's neck all the time. Right. So the idiot showed himself on camera. So I blasted his ass right across the internet. He files, what is it called? A personal disclaimer or whatever. YouTube makes me take it down. So you have 7 days to take this down. Really? Really? So this guy can come along, tell us to cut, like that he's going to come to my home and slit my throat and stuff like that. And I have to take the video down. And you guys are doing nothing about it. Thank you so much, YouTube, when you do stuff like that. It's ridiculous. But there's these people, like I said, that they just come in here and make different accounts, and they're little a-holes and stuff like that coming around. And it's just amazing, honestly, what people do behind a computer. Because you know damn well that they would not do that in front of somebody's real life to them. But they sit behind, well, there's some psychos out there, don't get me wrong. Right, Kim Mitchell? No, just kidding. But that's what gets me. Is that, these little just sit there behind a computer and they just want to beak off with no accountability. And then they want to hide behind a Bible, typically a lot of them, going, Jesus Christ, save my soul. But let me just tell this person off and let me just call their work on them. And, but hide behind my Bible. Sorry about that for all people that are Bible thumpers and stuff like that. I have no ill will against you, but with the Suzanne Morphew case, that was happening all day long with the Bibles. All these people that are preaching how great they are and wonderful they are, pull out their freaking ass Bible shit, and yet they're calling people's work, messaging people and doing that shit, and then trying to hide behind a Bible. No. Either you be a good person in this life or you don't. And if you don't, well, then whatever karma blasts you in the ass, well, then reap what you sow. But I try to be a good person in this lifetime, but I don't take anybody's shit either. The Lord taught
me. Am I on mute or am I here?
Janie didn't see the car. There was no Amber Alert because there was no car. There was no description of a car or a possible suspect. Janie never, and nobody said that she saw the car.
Nope, nothing.
You must have just misunderstood. I'm going to have to get off here soon, so if I drop...
No, we're going to go. What I'm going to do, you guys, again, please hit the like and the share. Please do it for the family members, okay, of Lily and Jack. Please do it for them, never for the sake of the channel. I just want you to do it for them. They're the ones that want you to keep this case going out there, and it's because of you guys out there that you guys are the ones that make a difference. I'm just a small part, just like other channels, and some channels that are bigger, can reach more, of course, awareness and stuff like that. But thank you guys so much for the support that you guys have given this channel with this case. Thank you to all the family members that have spoken out, regardless whether you not you believe them or whatever they have to say. Either way, I'm very grateful. I know we are.
Before we say goodbye, Sonny, I would like to say one thing to everybody that is in this channel, because I believe we're all here for Lily and Jack.
Yeah.
I asked you to please spread the word that it's not right to attack these family members or send messages. And I'm not saying that any of you are, but we are hearing reports from Daniel about people going after Malaya. We hear reports that now, because Darren has spoken out, he is getting threats. His family is getting threats. They're trying to give us enough info, and hopefully if the public has enough info, then the RCMP will have to shortly collaborate some of this info, or come out and say, listen, the evidence is not showing that, without telling us what they do have. But there's nobody in this world that has any right to personally attack anyone else. In Nova Scotia, we have a cyber bullying law that was named after Rhea Parsons,
Yeah.
who died 4 or 5 years ago by suicide. And it was because she was being bullied on Facebook that she decided she needed to take her own life. So please refrain from that, and let's all just pray for Jack and Lily to become home.
Yep. Hello, Daphne's case. Hello, everyone. Again, thank you guys so much. There's 741 people watching. There's 345 likes and shares. Again, the family has been watching tonight. Again, just help them out. That's all you need to do is put your DNA on that like and share button. We're going to go out with Jack and Lily's awareness video that I had made a few weeks back or whatever. So we're going to play that on the way out. Other than that, I'll be doing a live tomorrow. I do get off at 2 p.m. tomorrow, so I'll have one sometime around 3. Thursday, Bev is going to be joining us. She's a child protection lawyer, and she was a criminal defense lawyer before, but she's a child protection lawyer for... Anyway, she has 26 years experience behind her. She's in the UK, but UK is very much like Canada. So she's really looking forward to it. And she's going to go through some different scenarios and stuff like that. So really, anyone that has like that type of certificate and stuff like that, love it. So looking forward to that. But we'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? See what tomorrow brings. Hopefully, Jack and Lily's case, honestly, hopefully some... feathers get ruffled and something happens, and somebody that knows what happened to Jack and Lily, they come forward because they have a heart, because because anyone, if it was happening to your children, you definitely would want us to be helping and putting your case out there and stuff like that too. But if you're just a mother or a parent, regardless, just please do it because you care that much about other people that honestly, just it's a torturous predicament to be in. No knowledge, right? No knowledge. So, okay, you guys, thank you so much for your love.
One last thing, family, just in case Darren doesn't know this, and I know that there's a lack of trust with the RCMP, but if you are being threatened, if your kids are being threatened, if your grandkids are feeling threatened, report it to the police because it is a crime.
Of course it is.
Don't let it go.
It's just, yeah, I'm not. So Belinda, again, Darren, Daniel, Janie, Logan, anyone that, again, that's been speaking up from the families, besides the Brookside. Thank you guys. Thanks for giving us more knowledge. Appreciate it. And image file. What do I want? Video file. So we're going to go out again with Jack and Lily's awareness video for that, the tribute one.
A little girl and a boy went missing one day. It was on Friday morning 22nd of May. People went searching in the woods there outside for two little children named Lily and Jack. The girl was just 6 years, the boy was 4. While others were sleeping, they walked out the door. As time it went by and turned into days, no sign of those children, the news it did say. Where's Lily and Jack? Where can they be? So sad and heartbreaking for each family. Not a trace or a sound from Lily or Jack, who walked out the door and they never came back. Lansdowne Station, it was their own. In Nova Scotia, there they did roam. Let's not forget them and let us pray for those two little children still missing today. Where's Lily and Jack? Where can they be? So sad and heartbreaking for each family. Not a trace or a sound from Lily or Jack, who walked out the door and they never came back. Who walked out the door and they never came back.